Welcome, everyone. I hope you all are fired up, ready to go for the single best weekend of college basketball for the whole season. That's right. It is the round of 64, the first round of the NCAA tournament, of course, on Saturday and Sunday, second round. So we've got a boatload of games, and that means we're going to have a boatload of player props. So right now, you can find my March Madness betting guide, the Giffen Guide to March Madness, in the Action app. You can also find Sean Koerner's, my co-host right here, my compadre, his full bracket breakdown. My bracket breakdown will be coming out later tonight on the Action Network as well. But right now, it's all about those player props. We're going to be looking at the first round of games, so Thursday and Friday games. Most of our picks will be for Thursdays. I think there is one Friday game pick among our picks, 3 picks from Sean, 3 picks from me. But we do know these lines, they can be tough to find and they move quick. So we're going to be dropping quick slip links in the YouTube chat so you can instantly add each pick to your betting slip quickly and seamlessly. Before we get to the picks, very important order of business. March is the best month of the year, not just for sports, but also for getting the best deal on Action Pro. You can get Action Pro for just over $5 a month for the entire year. And for the NCAA tournament, you'll get Sean Koerner's bracket simulations, our player prop projections, and pick alerts 30 minutes before everyone else. It's also very important for player props this time of year because of the aforementioned quick line movement. So go to actionnetwork.com/March right now to get on board. All right. Like I said, Sean and I have 3 picks each. We're going to be starting for me in the Louisville versus Creighton game. So I'm just going to give everybody a minute to kind of flip over to Louisville versus Creighton. And actually, my second pick will also be from this game, but we're going to get to Sean's pick next. So Louisville versus Creighton. I'm going to go to a rebound prop, and I'm going to take James Scott for Louisville over 5.5 rebounds. You can get that even money at BetMGM. I love this spot here because Creighton launches 3-pointers at the 10th highest rate. Of course, those have a lower chance of being made than shots taken inside, right? So just overall, going to be more missed shots just because Creighton's launching them from so far out. And Creighton is absolutely terrible on the offensive glass. They rank 250th in adjusted offensive rebound percentage. You know, to find a similar set of games here, I went and looked at Duke, who launches threes at the 51st highest rate. Now, Creighton's at the 10th highest. So the next highest rate opponent Louisville's faced was Duke at 51st highest rate. Well, Scott had 10 rebounds in those 2 games, so 5 per game, and that was in 29 minutes per game. And we're projecting right at 29 minutes. But Duke is 15th in offensive rebounding percentage. I mentioned Creighton is 250th. So just, and Duke's also a better shooting team than Creighton. So a lot more missed shots and a lot more, defensive rebound opportunities here for Scott. Creighton also fouls at the lowest rate, and they're bottom 5 in turnover rate. That means more offensive possessions will end in field goal attempts for Louisville, which also, increases his offensive rebounding chances. So I don't mind if you want to ladder this, you can sprinkle 7+ at 2-1 or 8+ at +320 at DraftKings. I really like that one because we have this closer to a coin flip for 8 or more rebounds. We're projecting a median of 7.5. So Sean, that's my first one. What do you got for your first player prop?
My first prop's going to be in this Houston game, so I'll give everybody a second to pull up that matchup. I'm still recovering from that Valentino Pinedo disaster from yesterday. Tried to have some fun and take an over rebound prop. I'm going the other way here. I'm going with a Nolan Hickman special. So I'm going with LJ Cryer of Houston to stay under 2.5 boards. You can get it at -105 right now. I was on Cryer's under 2.5 last game against Arizona. He had 2 at halftime, so it's kind of scary, but of course he had 0 the rest of the way. And the 2 rebounds he did get were kind of fluky. One of them went like 50 feet into the air and just so happened to land right in Cryer's lap. And another one, the ball like squirted out and just he accidentally got a rebound that way. So anytime he gets a rebound, it's kind of fluky. So even if he kind of gets ahead of pace, it's always nice knowing he could get zero the rest of the way. Hence
Yep.
the Nolan Hickman special. Um, but this game is also a potential blowout. Houston is nearly 30-point favorites against Southern Illinois University Edwardsville. So we could see Cryer, play fewer minutes as a result. Typically, he's in there most of the game. We're projecting him for 35, 36 minutes. But in the 12 games where Houston, won by over 20 points and he played fewer minutes, he stayed under 2.5 boards 83% of the time. And it's kind of one of those things where, if Edwardsville hangs around, that's probably because they're making shots and there's
Mhm.
less rebound opportunities than usual. If they're getting blown out and there's more rebound opportunities, Cryer will get out of the game earlier. So it kind of caps his ceiling in this spot. So, I think his most likely outcome is going to be the 1 to 2 rebound range. We're projecting him closer to 2.2 boards here, with about a 62% chance he stays under 2.5 boards here.
Yeah, you got to love these Nolan Hickman specials. For those of you who don't know what we mean by that, Nolan Hickman, a guard for Gonzaga. And, Gonzaga, they tend to play kind of bad opponents in conference. But when they do play up, when they play either St. Mary's or San Francisco or in the tournament, Nolan Hickman's rebound rate is so low that we just love taking his unders there. And so even if he gets one or two early on, I never sweat it. So same thing here with Cryer. We've got a Nolan Hickman rebound rate type situation. All right, so those are our first picks. I'll be giving my second bet, and like I said, it is going back to that Louisville Creighton game. I have a second one here, and if you guys know me, if you're in the Action Network Discord, by the way, join the Action Network Discord, discord.gg/Action Network. If you haven't, we always also try to drop our picks in there and talk and sweat the games with everybody in chat. So make sure you're there. But I'm not a big fan, if you're in the Action Network Discord, of points props. But I'm going with the points prop here. We're going to take Chucky Hepburn for Louisville under 16.5 points. You can get that minus 114 at FanDuel. And I think this is a stylistic nightmare for Chucky Hepburn, who relies on the free throw line, scoring at the free throw line for 30% of his scoring output. And that's not good when you're facing Creighton, who allows the lowest free throw rate in all of college basketball. So if he's not scoring at the line, how else is Hepburn scoring? Well, it's about 50-50 from inside and from outside. But Creighton tends to allow more inside than they do outside, simply because they're a team that loves to guard the high efficiency shots. So their Culk drop is designed to eliminate those rim and three type shots, the 3-pointers and the shots at the rim, which is exactly what Hepburn does. He takes a lot of threes and he drives in, and that's how he gets his, to the line a lot, is drawing fouls while driving, getting to the rim. Well, Creighton loves to take that away. So that takes away exactly Chucky Hepburn's strengths here. So I think we'll see some more mid-range jumpers from Louisville, which won't necessarily come for Hepburn. I think it might funnel more scoring to Javon Hadley or Terrence Edwards. So, if you're kind of making some mental notes here, you might be thinking about some same game parlay type stuff here. But I don't think our projections are fully capturing the impact that, Creighton has here on Hepburn. We're projecting a median of 15.5 points, but I think it should be even lower because our projections aren't quite granular enough to capture the nuances of where these shots come from and at what rates. So I think Hepburn should be lower than 15.5 in our projection as the median. Again, if we look at Duke here, which is maybe one of the best comparable defenses to Louisville, not a great comparison, but about as good as there is. He had 8 and 14 points in 2 games against Duke, right? Duke also fouls at a low rate and also tends to force teams to shoot inside a little bit more. So I think that 14 number is probably about where I'd put Hepburn's median at. So I love getting under 16.5. Sean, time for your second pick.
Yeah, so my next one's going to be in this high point game. So I'll give everybody a second to get that matchup. Again, just due to Panito's performance yesterday, I'm not having any fun. No more overs for me, at least short term. So I'm going with, another gross under here. And it's Keza Jiffa of High Point to go under 2.5 assists. You can get it even money right now. And, Jiffa has averaged 2.5 assists per game, but he stayed under 2.5 63% of the time. Um, and, High Point has averaged 83 points in those games. But their implied total here against Purdue is around 73. So, roughly 10 points lower than their season average. So there's going to be fewer assists potentially to go around for Jiffa. And in the 13 games this season where High Point has scored less than 80 points, Jiffa is averaging just 2.1 assists and stayed under 2.5 in 9 of those 13 games, which is a very nice 69% hit rate. And he's their leading scorer. So I think he should be able to attack Purdue inside here. They tend to concede a lot of two-pointers. So could lead to him, shooting a little bit more and dishing it out a little bit less just based on the matchup. So we're projecting closer to 2.2 assists here with about a 62% chance he stays under 2.5 assists.
So, Sean, I got a question for you. You know that that image file, a .gif? Um,
Yeah.
I guess he would say it's a GIF, but I'm Giffen, and I would say it's a GIF. So, which one is correct?
Well, I don't know what's correct, but I've been saying GIF forever.
Yeah.
And like I hit you pronounce his last name Jiffa. That's the official, if you look at the High Point announcer's guide, that's how they say it. But it's really tough to not say Giffa,
Yep.
just saying your name all day long. So, that was really hard for me to do, saying Jiffa
Yeah,
four or
for
five
those of you
times there.
behind the
But
scenes, or who aren't behind the scenes, he has a pronunciation guide packed in here in this
yeah,
outline. So,
yeah.
before we get to our final picks, once again, March is the best month of the year, not just for sports, but also for getting the best deal on Action Pro. You can get Action Pro for just over $5 a month for the entire year. And for the NCAA tournament, you get Sean Koerner's bracket simulations, my player props, and projections, or I should say, as well as Sean's. We do them together, and pick alerts 30 minutes before everybody else, and you can also watch these shows. So it's very important. Get it now. Our projections will be there for every game for the NCAA tournament. That means even beyond the picks that we give out in the app or in Discord or on these shows, there's even more player props that we are showing value on from our projections. So go to actionnetwork.com/March right now to get on board. All right, final pick here. I am going rogue and I'm going to a Friday game. And I didn't mean to, go for a Friday game. I was just checking some of our tools, making sure everything was in tip-top shape, and I accidentally stumbled on some value for a Friday game. So that's going to be the Alabama game here against Robert Morris. And Sean gave out the Nolan Hickman special. Well, we've got another Nolan Hickman special here for Mark Sears under 4.5 rebounds. You can get that -160, I think is the best out there. -165 at BetMGM. I am going to do 1.2 units on this to win 0.75 at Bet365. So 3/4 unit to win. That way we're not doing, full 1.6 units to win 1 unit. So I'm just going to do a win 3/4 unit here. But in 6 games versus teams outside the top 100, when you adjust for location, Sears has had a rebound log of 3, 5, 3, 2, 0, and 3. Well, in those 6 games, 5 of them stayed under that 4.5 number. And in fact, all 5 of them would have stayed under 3.5 of those 6. So that's pretty low, only averaging 2.7 rebounds per game. So he gets another non-top 100 location adjusted team here in Robert Morris. And Robert Morris is actually a good rebounding team. They rank 62nd in our schedule adjusted rebound rate. So, when we adjust for the fact that Robert Morris has played absolutely garbage opponents, that bumps them down from a top 30 or so rebounding team into the 60s there. So, they're still a very good rebounding team. So they could sneak in a few rebounds. And I was doing some spot checks, right? Like they played Oakland a couple times, who's inside our top 150 in schedule adjusted rebounding as well. And they out rebounded Oakland across the two games. Robert Morris also turns over the ball a lot, and they draw fouls at a high rate. So offensively, they're giving up possessions by turning it over where there's not going to be a rebound, or they draw fouls and go to the line, and then they get to attempt high percentage free throws. And Sears is a guard, with such a low rebound rate, he's probably not going to be factoring into any free throw rebounds as well, which hurts him extra because he basically only grabs defensive rebounds, right? His defensive rebound rate is around 7.5%, 8%. His offensive rebound rate is below 2%. So, if you can find an under 3.5, I don't know if there are any out there, but if you can, take it at plus money. We're projecting 3.5 exactly, with a 72.5% chance he stays under 4.5. So, minus 160 might seem like paying a lot of juice. But we have this at like minus 260 as fair value. So, Mark Sears under 4.5 rebounds for a Friday game. But I think we're going back to a Thursday game for Sean's third pick.
Nick, I think that Nolan Hickman special is 2.5 rebounds, so you're getting one at 4.5.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I'm going to go to this McNeese Clemson matchup, and this is an actual Nolan Hickman special, my second one of the show, and it's DJ Richards of McNeese under 2.5 rebounds. It's actually plus money right now. It's plus 110. Game log truthers will probably see that he's cleared this in 4 straight games, and be on his over here. But taking a closer look, McNeese allowed just a 42% effective field goal rate over that stretch, which is the fourth lowest rate in the country over the last 4 games. So there was way more potential rebounds to go around than usual for them. And now they face Clemson, which is, a huge jump in terms of competition. They're a top 25 offense, good shooting team, good rebounding team. And taking a look at Richards, full game log, not just the last 4 games, he became the starter about 22 games ago. And over that stretch, he's averaged 2.4 rebounds and stayed under 2.5, 64% of the time. So we're projecting him closer to 2.1 here, with around a 65% chance to stay under 2.5. So just the fact that we're also getting plus odds here makes me love this even more.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we've essentially got 50% of our picks here as Nolan Hickman specials, taking these guard unders on rebounds. We love them. We love sweating unders, right? People want to root for overs. We root for unders because then we root for all the underlying factors, right? The turnovers or getting to the foul line. Those kinds of things are things you can root for when you are rooting for an under. So those are our picks right now. I know Sean and I will be in the Action Network Discord giving out more picks and tracking them in the Action Network app. So if you want those pick alerts right away, once again, make sure you sign up for Action Pro. But we are going to be given, like I said, some plays out for tonight's games, and we'll definitely be given more out throughout the rest of the day and the week and the weekend, as well as next weekend. We're also going to be back here this time next week with another player prop show for the Sweet 16 right here on the Action Network YouTube channel. So don't miss that one. Same time, same place, Wednesday next week as well. But that'll do it for our player prop special for the round of 64 for the 2025 NCAA tournament. For Sean Koerner, I'm Nick Giffen. We'll catch y'all next week.